Marvel fans must have watched the legendary Black Panther movie, The Tale of Wakanda, the Hidden African Kingdom. But what if I told you that the story you know was only inspired by something far older, something that happened centuries before the BC era? The truth is, the myth of the Black Panther did not begin in Marvel's pages. It was born from an ancient African kingdom whose real name history has buried in silence. For reasons of secrecy, we will call it Wakanda. In that forgotten kingdom, long before time could be counted, the people spoke of a warrior unlike any other, a being raised in the wild whose strength surpassed men, whose rage terrified even the beasts. They did not call him the Black Panther. They called him Tannur, which in their tongue meant monster. But this monster would one day rise to become the savior of his people and the true shadow behind the legend of the Black Panther. Far beyond the maps of old Africa, hidden by mountains and veiled by forests, stood a kingdom of unimaginable wonder. Its people were blessed with rich soil, fertile lands, and treasures that glimmered beneath the earth: gold, silver, rubies, emeralds, and diamonds. They had no need for trade. Their land provided all. Their craftsmen shaped wonders. Their warriors defended their peace. And unlike other kingdoms, Wakanda did not crown rulers by blood. A king was not born, but proven. Only the strongest warrior could wear the crown. In that golden age, a man named Jugurtha rose. He was mighty in battle but kind at heart. King Jugurtha ruled with wisdom, and his people prospered. He married the beautiful Queen Elissa, and their union brought laughter to the palace and harmony to the land. But peace never lasts forever. One day, lost foreigners stumbled into their hidden world, merchants, pale and hungry, drawn by curiosity and chance. Jugurtha showed them mercy, fed them, and sent them home unharmed. But their tongues betrayed him. They carried tales of a secret African kingdom richer than imagination, a place where gold-littered riverbeds and diamonds shone like stars. Those whispers traveled far until they reached the ears of Sufekar, the tyrant ruler of mighty Carthage, a man whose greed was as endless as the desert. Sufekar gathered his scouts, followed the whispers, and at last found the hidden borders of Wakanda. He demanded half the kingdom's wealth as tribute, twice each year. Jugurtha refused. In fury, Sufekar vowed war. And so the first great invasion began. Wakanda's warriors were fierce, their weapons superior, their courage unmatched, but Carthage had numbers beyond count. The fields ran red with blood, and Jugurtha, seeing the slaughter of his men, chose to save his people from extinction. He bowed and agreed to a terrible bargain. Wakanda would pay the tribute. But Sufekar's greed only grew. Tribute turned to tyranny. He demanded 100 Wakandan youths each year, boys to fill his armies, girls to serve as slaves. Jugurtha's heart broke, but for years he endured, protecting his people through quiet humiliation. Then one night, a captive escaped from Carthage, her body scarred, her voice trembling. She told the truth. The boys had been slaughtered, the girls sold to pleasure houses. The king wept in silence. Then his sorrow hardened into fury. He swore never again. Wakanda closed its gates. Tribute ended. Sufekar gathered his armies once more and stormed the kingdom with a vengeance that shook the heavens. Villages burned. The palace walls trembled under siege. And amid the chaos, Queen Elissa gave birth to a daughter, little Princess Amonita. As the palace crumbled, Jugurtha sent his wife and child away, guarded by his bravest warriors. He turned back to face the enemy himself. In the final battle, a spear meant for the queen flew through the smoke. Jugurtha leapt before it. The spear pierced his heart. His blood baptized the soil he had sworn to defend. The king fell. The kingdom broke. Queen Elissa fled through the forest with her daughter in her arms, pursued by soldiers. Wounded and bleeding, she stumbled upon the one place all Wakandans feared, the Forbidden Cave. It was said that the spirits of dead kings and the gods of the old world lived there, watching, waiting. None who entered had ever returned. But with the enemy closing in, the queen had no choice. She entered the darkness. As she descended, her daughter's small dog ran toward the cave mouth. Amonita chased after it, and that was when the soldiers caught her. They dragged the screaming child away. The queen cried out, but her strength failed her. Then the earth trembled. From the shadows came a sound not made by any man, a deep growl, like thunder from beneath the ground. Eyes blazed in the dark, red, ancient, merciless. the great Black Panther emerged. Its form shimmered between spirit and beast, half smoke, half flesh. It leapt upon the soldiers with the fury of a storm, tearing them apart until silence fell. It spared only the queen. Broken, bleeding, and gasping for air, Elissa faced the creature. The panther spoke without words, its voice a vibration that shook her bones. It offered her a choice. She could die with her unborn child, and her bloodline would end. Or she could make a pact, one that would bind her child's soul to the spirit of the panther forever. With tears and trembling hands, Elissa chose life for her unborn son. She cut her wrist, letting her blood drip into a sacred calabash. The panther did the same. Their bloods mixed, red and black swirling together like night-consuming dawn. The queen drank. So did the beast. Lightning struck the cave, and Elissa cried out as pain racked her body. The child's skin bore strange dark markings, symbols of the pact. His eyes glowed faintly, and when the queen placed her emerald necklace on his chest, her life slipped away. The beast took the child and disappeared into the forest's heart. Years passed. Wakanda became ruins. Its people scattered, enslaved, or lost. But deep in the forest, the child survived. Raised by the panther, Tannur grew in the wild, learning to hunt, to fight, to survive. His senses were sharper than a lion's, his strength beyond that of 10 men. When anger filled him, his eyes burned crimson, and his skin hardened like armor. No blade could cut him. One day, as Tannur stalked the forest, he saw a young woman fleeing from a lion. Without thought, he leapt, striking the beast down with his bare hands. The woman screamed, but when she saw his face, half man, half myth, she fell silent. Tannur guided her to safety, and for the first time, he saw the world beyond the forest. That night, he could not forget her. He dreamed of faces, of a burning palace, of a woman with an emerald necklace. He returned to the cave and demanded answers from the spirit that had raised him. The panther told him everything: his father's death, his mother's pact, the curse of his blood. Rage filled him. He left the cave and went to the woman's village, a hidden place of Wakandan survivors. When they saw him, they whispered, calling him a ghost. But when he showed them the emerald pendant his mother had given him, the elders wept. They recognized the last heir of their fallen king. That night, as they slept, Carthaginian soldiers found the village. They came to take more slaves. But Tannur stepped forward. His eyes glowed red. His roar shook the earth. When he moved, he became shadow itself. Arrows shattered against his skin. Swords broke upon his arms. He tore through the soldiers like a storm through dry leaves. From that night, a rumor began to spread. Slaves whispered of a black shadow that freed them in the dark. Soldiers spoke of a beast that moved like smoke. Tannur had become the panther spirit's vengeance made flesh. He attacked Carthage's camps, freed captives, and vanished into the trees. The people called him the Shadowborn. Sufikar laughed at first, but then his outposts fell silent, his caravans vanished, and his generals died in their sleep. Fear spread through Carthage. Sufikar raised an army to crush the rebellion, but when he marched, he found no army waiting. Only whispers, shadows, and death. At last, on the plains before Carthage, Tannur appeared alone. He faced Sufikar himself, dressed in gold armor, surrounded by thousands. The tyrant sneered. "You are a curse," he spat. Tannur's voice was calm. "I am Wakanda." Then the battle began. Sufikar struck with all his might, but Tannur moved faster than sight. His claws tore through steel. His roar drowned the clash of swords. The tyrant fell, and with him, his empire. Chains shattered. Slaves were freed. Among them, Tannur found Amonida, his sister, alive after years of torment. They embraced as the city burned. Together, they led the survivors back to the ruins of Wakanda. On the throne of his father, Tannur swore a vow that would echo through the ages. Never again shall Wakanda bow. Never again shall its children wear chains. The panther watches. The panther does not sleep. Tannur rebuilt his kingdom. He ruled with wisdom, strength, and mercy. Under his watch, Wakanda rose from ashes, stronger, prouder, hidden from the world once more. They called him Ashbar Tannur, the man born of blood and spirit, the guardian of his people. His legend whispered from one generation to another until it inspired a modern tale, the story of the Black Panther. So when you watch Wakanda rise on screen, remember this: The legend you see began long ago, not in Hollywood, but in the heart of Africa. A true panther once walked this earth, a shadow born of love, rage, and sacrifice. The real Black Panther, the king who never died,